Round of applause. You did well. Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody, to Speak Up Monday here, Tropical Nomad. This is episode 494 from memory. Hopefully I'm right. And tonight is all about AI and automation. So sitting next to me, another brother from maybe a different mother and father, Oliver Sutton, who is the founder, co-founder of Sonigo.co. And tonight, really, the thing I like about Oliver is that, he's able to simplify, because I think a lot of us here know that AI holds a very important key to our future, but don't really know how to get started, number one. Number two, we hear a lot of talk about AI and get a bit confused by it sometimes and wonder what is that about? So again, simple and relevant is kind of where we're going. So as you would have known, about 5-6 weeks ago, another client put on the largest AI Commerce Revolution Summit in Bali. It took place at Nusa Dua, 3,520 people. They're from KL. It's called SDS. Now, over the years, we started the first AI conference in Bali about 2 or 3 years ago in the Trans Resort in Nusa Dua, Trans Resort here in Seminyak, sorry. And so we've seen this AI go from, this new technology that wasn't that new, but new to most people. And then anyone who basically put their hand up and said, I have an AI project, millions of dollars would suddenly come from somewhere into their account. And then we went through the time of realizing that it's very new. Most people didn't really know what they were doing. And then we went into a part of use cases where there were specific use cases for AI to operate. And this is outside of ethics. By the way, AI ethics is not for this episode, right? Just so you know. And now we're back. So this AI conference that I spoke about brought 10 speakers from around the world that were experts in scaling, in content creation, lead generation, and scaling. That's really what that one was about. So tonight I'm going to have a quick intro, and then we'll get started. So, are you ready? So, AI and automation. Get clients, work smarter, and cut costs. So Speak Up Monday, as I mentioned, episode 494. This is 495. I wonder who's right. We should ask AI. This week we dive into AI and automation with Sonigo.co, an industry-agnostic company developing intelligent AI solutions for small to medium-sized enterprises. So if you're a business owner looking for ways to integrate AI simply and intelligently into your business to get clients, work smarter, and cut costs, this would be a great episode for you. So 3 takeaways. There'll be many, many more, but how AI and automation can help small to medium-sized enterprises save time and reduce costs. Number 2, practical examples of AI-driven client acquisition and workflow automation. And number 3, or why now is the time for small businesses to embrace enterprise level AI solutions. Woo. A bit about Oliver, co-founder of Sonigo.co, providing AI and automation solutions that help SMEs save time, cut costs, and scale. With 25 plus years experience consulting for global firms like Morgan Stanley, Deutsche Bank, he brings enterprise expertise to smaller businesses. And as you know, my name is Robert Ian Bonnick, founder of Speak Up Monday. I have to write it down as well, I forget. Destination Indonesia, the #1 in-person and live stream talk show on entrepreneurship and social impact. And as I mentioned, we're approaching 500 episodes, recognized as Bali's #1 change maker and top 10 best motivational speaker in Southeast Asia. That's CEO Insights Asia 2025. Co-founder myself of PT Carry Life Group. And what else can I tell you? RIB and Associates, Speak Up Monday, obviously, and Tourism Architect. And our work is endorsed by the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy of Indonesia, Bali Tourism Bodies, Forbes Business Council, Founder Institute, and Startup Growing Bali. Round of applause. That was so long. Good. All right. Woo! So Oliver Sutton.
Hello. Hi.
Another Englishman.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you.
And look, so let's get straight in, like Deutsche Bank, Morgan Stanley. So what were you doing for those companies, and how did that kind of lead you on your journey towards AI?
Yeah, sure. So I suppose that we call it in Bali our previous life, isn't it? So yeah, no, when I went back in London, I was what they call a sort of UX product guy. So I worked with enterprise businesses to understand process, right?
Now,
so
just before you go, because your voice is quite loud, you can hold it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my job was to sit down and study process, understand scenarios, and then I would design software, and then people far smarter than I would build the software. So we'd have fantastic developers. So I was doing the blueprints, speaking to users, understanding its process, and then we would build very expensive software for big banks. So I spent a lot of time on a trading floor trying to understand very complicated trading products. It was a fantastic time, interesting, especially when Lehman went down. But no, how that transfers to what we do now, it's very similar, really. I mean, the only difference is we work with smaller businesses, and instead of building the very expensive software, we use pre-built software. So we have a platform that we set up for our clients, so you don't need to start again and redesign the software. You just need to implement that with specific understanding of that business and the scenarios and how that's really going to sort of drive new clients and save costs, right?
One of the things we love about what you're saying, right, is that you have this big company experience, so all of those economies of scale, economies of knowledge, right? Again, the different boardrooms and Lehman Brothers, that would have been an interesting time to be in your shoes. But being privy to all of this advanced research information at your fingertips, right? So the bit which I love is that is the fact now that you've taken all of that and you've brought it to small to medium-sized enterprises. So why did you do that? Is probably my first question.
Well, it's quite stressful working in a big city, for one, and there's not a lot of big banks in Bali. I think that's the short answer. But no, I think I generally love. I've spent a career fixing problems. My beautiful partner and I came to Bali 3 years ago with our 2 kids, and Gail is very good. She's within fashion and e-commerce. I was a bit more. I don't think I'm techie as much. I think there's some much smarter techies than me. I'm more of a designer. So we came together to help local businesses, but we also have a lot of international clients. So I think it was it was the passion of saving. I mean, through my career, I must have saved hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds for big banks, tweaking their systems, saving them money. But we get a lot of passion out of helping smaller businesses do that now because they haven't got so much money and it makes more different to them. So.
One interesting thing as well about Indonesia is that I don't remember the number actually. I should know this. But again, it's, I think it's 98% of business in Indonesia is small to medium sized / MSMEs and SMEs, right? So it really is, like a cottage industry, and that entrepreneurial spirit, that entrepreneurial drive is very much here, and that's in the local population, the Indonesian population, as well as sure, large hotels and everything came to Bali first, but now you can see, out of interest, because you mentioned you're industry agnostic, so what kinds of clients in the small to medium sized enterprises do you deal with across which kind of range? I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, sure. So the local clients that we have are the kind of businesses that we see around. So property, e-commerce. The business isn't so important because we've spoken to a lot of businesses, and the solutions that we have for those businesses tend to be the same. But what's great is you understand the local economy, you understand some of the problems that they're having. Once you fix that for one client, you can fix it for another. But yeah, I mean, as far as the industry is concerned, we're working with a famous fashion brand here on the island. We're working with a hotel. We're talking with property businesses, and we have solutions really that sort of fit a number of SaaS. It's kind of we're industry agnostic, as it were. So I don't suppose it massively matters. It's a case of understanding, their niche, what their big problems they're having, how they're getting client, how they're managing the leads, and actually implementing certain automations that we've already done to sort of speed up that process.
Yeah, you kind of great segue to the next question. What's a process, right? And you've spoken about part of it already, but is there a 3 or 5 step process, for example, when someone says to you, okay, we believe that we could get more efficiency, or we've heard of this thing, AI, we don't know how to use it, we don't know how to put it into our business. What are those first 3 or 5 steps that you take a client through?
So it's a good question, and it's always difficult when we get asked, what do we do, how can we help? Well, like a UX designer, the first response is a question, and it's, well, what do you do? What are your problems? How do you manage your leads that they're coming in? And what's your process? Talk me through a linear process from the life cycle of a client, right? How did you find them? What's the first communication you've had with them? And then, managing that client all the way to, maintaining that client. And if you lose them, try and get them back, or asking them to, give you reviews for other clients.
Yeah. What kinds of challenges are you finding? I mean, I said in the intro, because it's probably the challenge that I'm having, but it might be different for other people, right? So for me, for example, I find that one of the biggest challenges is AI is great, and obviously we've had so many episodes about AI and so on and so on and so on. Technology is one of the areas that we're in. But sometimes I struggle to understand how AI can help me in what I do. So for me, having that simple someone who's kind of able to guide me through, right, and say, Rob, well, you need this and this and this, and it will do this and this and this, which will give you more of that, and that. Is that what you want? It's like, well, yeah, I guess so. Well, let's go there. So, but that's me, right? But what do you find from this industry agnostic, in other words, multiple industries that you can appeal to, apply it to? What are some of the main problems that they're facing, and how do you help solve them?
So it's if I took property, for example, so we a lot of property businesses have a problem of a lot of tire kickers, and I don't know if you know that phrase, but it's people phoning up asking to see a villa when they're not really interested in having a look at that villa. And the problem is, I was one of those. We were doing that when we were back home. It was a dream. Come to Bali and look at these beautiful villas. So you're sort of you're getting a bit of research into your new life, but there's no real chance that you're actually going to buy that villa or come out to Bali, right? So with AI, and I say AI and automation, a lot of what we do is actually automation. You can streamline that, so you can have AI respond on behalf. You can get the information that you need from them and determine. We do client segmentation, right? So we can work out if they're good clients or not. Like a great question is like, yeah, great. When are you coming out to Bali? And then you can AI and automation can pick out those good leads and then put them in front of a human, right? And then the human can nurture them, call them up. But those that maybe are just going to waste your time, then you can have AI or automation just keep them warm. you can have a series of WhatsApp, email, SMS messages going out to them over a period of time. So you're just keeping, in their facere. When the time comes, hopefully they'll give you a call, right? So I think it's difficult. Every business has different issues, right?
And you mentioned about, well, you didn't mention directly, but maybe I am, mindset. So what kind of mindset do you need to have to be able to embrace AI that you've seen through your clients? Maybe ones that didn't work out, maybe ones that flourished.
And it's a good, and I say I'm definitely not an AI expert. I think the people here are AI experts. I love process and I love using the tools. We have what we think is a fantastic tool because it combines everything. So I think my answer to that is don't be scared of AI. It's I always like the analogy of AI is like electricity. We don't really understand it, but we all use it. And we plug it in, and that's what we do, right? We all know ChatGPT, right? We get a nice interface and we can ask it questions, and it's incredible. It gives us very good answers. Well, there's also an API, so you can literally plug that engine into other services, right? So we do a lot of that. So I think actually embracing AI and having confidence to play with it and get it set up for your specific need is kind of where you need to be. And there's some very smart. We've got a professor in AI here. I'm sure he could go into to more detail of what it is. But I mean, I follow some very smart AI people, and I don't think they even understand what it is. So don't worry if you don't. We've got an AI school, but actually understand the tools, understand how the tools use AI, and understand how you can actually practically use AI and automation in your business. And I think that's where a lot of the clients we speak to, they're like, great, AI, the Terminators are going to come and take over the world. Well, great, I'd like to spend more time on the beach. So, how can I do that, right? So, we've got practical solutions that work for businesses today.
So give us some like a practical example. I've got a question here, a little takeaway. Practical example of an AI-driven client acquisition and workflow automation.
Okay, so yeah, it's a good question. So we've got an AI agent who we call Monty, and Monty is our LinkedIn AI agent that goes out on LinkedIn and finds our clients more clients, right? So how does Monty work? Well, we sit down with our client and we understand what the specific job titles, the kind of people they're after, and then we set up the whole system. So we actually have our platform, and in our platform we have lots of AI automation and a whole list of things that any business would need. So you can host websites. We've got our team, we've got a load of website designers. So we reach out to these people with a DM message on LinkedIn, and that message includes a link to what we'd call an irresistible offer. Okay, so with that business, we find one thing, something that's going to be high value to their clients, but maybe low cost to them. So it could be a calculator, it could be a free video, a free course, a free PDF, and we sell that essentially in exchange for their email, phone number, and most importantly their opt-in. Okay, and then AI and automation will keep sending these messages and follow up that messages until the person replies. When they reply, Monty will take over and chat to them and Monty is essentially an appointment setter, so he'll do everything he can to try and get them booked on a call, and that whole system is automated on our software. So you can see in a timeline the leads that come in. Maybe they're interested, maybe they are not interested, right? But sometimes they're not interested. You can dive in, see the chat Monty's had with them to understand why not. Okay, and then you've got another column which is like, yeah, they're interested, but they've also clicked on the offer. They've downloaded your PDF, and at that point, you can then trigger a whole load of new automations. Okay, so now we've got their permission, their email, their phone number. We can now send a year's worth of email. Okay, we've got their phone number. So we do a lot of work with WhatsApp. Okay, it's a hugely powerful tool. 95% read rate on WhatsApp compared to email that I think is dropping to something like 10%, you know. So, you know, get a WhatsApp message, you can start promoting on that channel, then you're leading them and warming them up to get a call booked, which is all automated. So you jump on a Zoom call and then you hopefully can close them on that point.
And then, as you mentioned, and look, I think for the guys who are advanced here, will kind of understand how this all works. So when it comes to the message in between, you can basically adjust, because I think one of the things is that people use AI, but people don't want to know that you're using AI, right? And you get these messages like, Robert Ian Bonnick is like, it's like, you know, it's like, oh, here we go, you know. And if you get past that point, it's like you delete it, right? So then how do you get past that? Because, you know, again, as I mentioned before, maybe you didn't hear it because I was laughing too much, you know, people want to use AI because they see the efficiency and see how it's good to generate leads in this particular case, but then they don't want to be sold to via AI. So then how do you make that more human, to disguise or to appear, to be more relatable and so on?
So it's a good question, and AI is getting very clever now. We can, so with clever prompting, you can address the personality of the business. So that AI can have a tone of voice. You know, there's certain spelling in certain different jurisdictions. You can be very formal. You can be very jokey and lighthearted. So it really depends on the business. But you can set that setting. Then it depends on the channel, right? I mean, on LinkedIn. No one's actually that chatty on LinkedIn, but they are very responsive. Right? On LinkedIn, you literally can get through past the gatekeeper to some high net worths, because people come to LinkedIn to network, but they don't want to chitty chatter, right? So it makes AI a great resource because it's very simple. It's people are pretty quick in their. If you've got something of interest, they'll show that they'll want to find out more. But maybe on a different channel like WhatsApp, it's slightly different. People want to, they want to kind of engage and get a bit more conversational. So we have, as Monty, within our system, if you think about all the channels of communication now, I don't know about you, but you've got a message from someone, you don't know, was that a DM on LinkedIn? Was it, Instagram? Was it Facebook? Was it email? Was it SMS? There's so many ways that we can communicate with each other now. So with our platform, we connect all those channels, including the old-fashioned way of actually phoning the company up, and we put it into one, okay? And then we can then do three things, right? We can have somebody manually get back to them, type out a response, call them back, or we can have suggestive mode, right? So AI will go, okay, this person's asked this thing, I think your answer should be this, right? Or if the person's asked in Bahasa, then maybe you'll get a Bahasa reply, but it will be in English as well, right? So AI is good for understanding different types of languages, right? But then you've got auto mode, where AI just takes over and gets back to people, right? So you need to, I think a lot of our clients will start off with suggestive mode, and as they're working suggestive mode, they're checking that AI is getting it right. And if it's not, we've got a knowledge base, so you can upload the correct answer and kind of correct it, right? And at the point then, when you're just going, yeah, this is great, this is the right response, then you can turn it on to. But I think it's important to remember it's very good at an early stage of a lead. I think AI hasn't taken over humans yet. Running your job, you've got to kind of get in there. Right? I think if someone doesn't know you, and it's just finding out you're warming them up, AI is very good. But we're still good to keep our jobs for a few years yet. So you have to come in at some stage, right?
So just two things. One is that after this last question, we're going to have questions from you, right? Now, what I can see, based upon what Oliver just said, so there's two types of questions, right? There's a question aimed at Oliver, and then there's a general question that might be answered by, and he doesn't know I'm going to say this yet, by the professor. Right, might be right because I know him. He's a good guy. So I think they're the two kinds of question. But look, the final question for now is, why is now the time for small businesses to embrace enterprise level AI solutions? And while you're thinking about that, at the end of this, two things are going to happen. So one is a photo, as I mentioned, with everybody together, and two, there's going to be a QR code that I believe is going to be put onto the screen, and then that one is like a free assessment tool, right? Is that, maybe you tell them what that will be so they know.
Yeah, so we've got a free if you have a Google business profile, i.e. you've got your on Google Maps, we've got a QR code that you can scan, and literally we will look at your whole website and give you a full report on everything that you need to do to optimize your website better. So a quick form. Do you want to do it now? Should we do that, or we want to do that later?
Oh, we'll do it later. We'll give Guzman some time. So the final question for now: why now is the time for small businesses to embrace enterprise AI solutions?
Because if you don't, you're going to be left behind. You really are. And I think AI is after our jobs for sure. Do you want to be Blockbuster or Netflix, right? And I think that's the scenario. If you want to, and we don't like to replace staff, but do you want those staff to do more fun and interesting things, and do you want to automate to make sure they do it right? If so, I'd use AI and automation, right? Because you train it once, and it's got it. The AI automation doesn't take holidays, works 24/7, and speaks every language.
Got it. Now, while you're considering if there's anything else you'd like to share, any questions, just raise your hand. Yes. So the microphone, we start with, we'll go ladies first. So we'll start here with Angie. So just remember, just before you speak, so with questions, what we like to do is a bit like this. So by all means, plug your company, plug university, plug what you're doing, but then go straight to your question. That way we can fit more questions in, give more value to more people.
Say my business before?
Yeah. Plug what you're doing, my darling. Plug it.
All right. Well, I have a slightly unrelated. I have a dog walking and pet sitting agency that I have streamlined AI with, and done some background stuff to streamline it. But I'm curious for you. I'm working with N8N. I'm working with Make.com. I'm trying to see the difference to host more things like agents. So my question for you is, it's Sonogo.co, right? Sonogo. Sonogo.co.
Sonogo. SONIGO.
Okay.
It's my partner came out. It's Sonny and Indigo as our two children, so it's a combination of the two.
Very cute.
Yeah, Sonogo.
I didn't know that.
My question is, what platform did you create that on?
So we can do automation on our platform. Is AppSonigo is our platform, but N8N and there's free versions of that coming out now, are all very good tools. I think the issue is tying them all together, right? So actually when you're looking at calendars and you're just looking at a lot of flow coming into your business, then sometimes that can get quite expensive, right? So why we love our tool. And I know I was always going to build out of my retirement working in the city. I'd get into designing software. The platform that we sell and set up for our clients is an amazing platform. And instead of starting again, we set it up. So all the stuff that you can do in N8N, we can do on our platform. but that's not to say that N8N and all these types of tools make. We use Zapier. It's a bit old school, but we've just used that for years. So I think they're all fantastic tools. I think from our perspective, the kind of business that we work with, we're tying up calendars and everything in one. So it's all included. So we don't get charged from the usage like these tools do, right?
So save money.
Yeah,
I think that's a strong one. A question over here. Just reach over. Camera's fine. No problem. Yeah. Thank you for the question. Appreciate it.
My question is, as you introduce automation to these organizations, are you finding newer and interesting things for the current employees, or are you finding that the organizations are reducing their staff? And so what's the percentage of that? How is that impacting their organizations? Yeah.
It's a good one. So we're working with the famous hairdressing chain at the moment, and they've got their own CRM as a sort of industry standard CRM, but it doesn't do the things that we can do. So we have to tie into that platform. But the conversations we're having, we're actually talking to the receptionists that essentially we're going to replace, right? So with our tool, AI can answer the phone, it can chat to them on WhatsApp and book the hair appointment in all its different weird shapes and sizes for different types of hair, different lengths of duration that needs different stylists, right? But we're not replacing them. With the salon that we're talking with at the moment, they have they have two receptionists. The first 3 hours of their day is getting back to people on WhatsApp. They don't want to do that. There's much more interesting, more useful things for them to do, right? So they could they could be working their social media, they could be working with their client relations and so on and so forth. So whereas that the Terminators will come and take our jobs, we're not quite there yet, but it's nice that you can take away what's the boring, repetitive tasks that people don't want to do, and allow them to do the more fun, interesting stuff, right?
Next question, Vinny. Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you, brother. All right. So raise your hand up high so we can see. Yes. There it is. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So I guess plug myself. I run Mobius Consulting, a IT project management company. I help SMEs with setting up the systems to grow their business, as well as running projects as they need. Consultmobius.com if anyone's interested. But my question, you mentioned LinkedIn. That's interesting to me because LinkedIn is famously restrictive for AI data scraping, and you made it sound like you are actually able to scrape data from there. Or are you talking about going through ads, or are you talking about actually getting in there and pulling data?
So it's, I suppose, all of the above, really. So but you can scrape the data from LinkedIn. So actually, once you've connected with somebody on LinkedIn, you can pull the data, all right? And we automate that process and pull it into the CRM. Unfortunately, the data is not consistent. Not everybody has phone numbers, and some of the emails, are sometimes quite old. So once we've connected with them, we have a whole load of Zapier settings that ask them certain questions in certain scenarios, so we can pull better data, right? It's pulling data and reaching out to people on LinkedIn, and it's a bit of a grey area, the area that we work in with Monty specifically in relation to LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn like people they'd like to grow their network, but they don't want just fake LinkedIn accounts with robots talking to each other. So as long as you play by the rules, then it's a great way to do your outreach, right?
Thank you. Any questions over there? We'll bring it back this way. Yeah, all good. So any questions from over here? Yes, over there. Yeah, Lizette, is that you? Yeah.
Hi, I wanted to ask a question. So we're currently managing an HR platform and we want to automate it as well. And what we want to do is with N8N and also the help with like Gemini to make prompts and Manus, we want to make an automation where we can just filter out CVs, and from the automation itself, it can filter out what we want and what we don't want. And it's been going really good lately, but unfortunately sometimes when we tell, let's say, the automation we want this, sometimes the downside is certain people that, let's say, instead of using a PDF, they do a Word, like little type of things. We get to push the people that are actually good sometimes. Like in your company, how you do, like how can you find a way to get all the quality as much as you can? Is it to better prompt? Is it to communicate with the AI better to make the automation better? Like how would you give a solution for that?
I mean, that's as far as checking the document. You know, we would have an automation that checks against if it's a PDF or a Word document or something it doesn't understand, right? And if it doesn't understand it, maybe it would feed back a message to say these are the formats in which we accept. As far as taking the data, I mean, if you think it in a simplistic way, AI, if you give it data, it's very, very good. Understanding large sums of data, and the way that it comes back to you and the way that it churns that data is down to good prompting, right? And there's different levels of how good your prompts are, but the best way to write a prompt is ask the AI. So the first thing I'll ask AI is to write a prompt before it gives me an answer. So I've got a specific prompt that I will use to get AI to write me a prompt for the thing that I'm looking to do. And I think generally that's how AI works, well. In each instance, it's writing a prompt for its next activity, all right? So I think, getting good at writing very, very good prompts and understanding, it's not rocket science. We're not coding now. It's all stuff that we can read, and we can tweak and change the prompt depending on the results, right? So, I think it'd be a combination of those two things.
Thank you. Can we have the mic over here, Lizette? Yeah, and Prof. So you're my brother, as you know. Just pass it over to Diane. So the question I'm going to ask you, which may be a little bit off topic, but it's okay because we're all family here. I want you to introduce yourself a little bit, and then I just want maybe a minute or so just to kind of, what are you finding now just in the field of AI that might be interesting to the people which are here assembled? It might be a little bit off topic, but it's okay. It gives people's brain a chance to rest and relax, and give Oliver a chance to rest as well. Diane, over to you.
Okay, so 3 Crowns Property. So my question is, I'm very familiar with automations and so forth, but are we saying here, and we know that the email rates have dropped, so the likes of AI with the automation systems like a Klaviyo or a Flowdesk or what have you, are they all like gone? Is that done? Or you still need to rely on that as well?
I think it's unfortunately a mixture of different channels, right? And there's also a legal binding aspect to email, but email does get lost, and it depends what you're doing. It's LinkedIn outreach is like email, it's a volume game that you send enough, you'll get a reply. So we mix up all forms of communication, right? So we might have email going out as a newsletter with updates. We might have more personal kind of email that looks like it's written by a person. But we'll also have a voicemail drop. Okay, so certain points in the sales cycle, we can have our clients record a message and then that gets dropped into their phone as as an answer phone message without the phone ringing. So all this personalization, helps to kind of warm them up. Excuse me. WhatsApp is a very, very powerful tool, and when you're communicating through WhatsApp with automation, you can really jump ahead of the game, because not a lot of people are using WhatsApp. 95% read rate, is pretty impressive, right? And now you can have automated buttons. You can have AI conversations. And it works very well with paid advertising, right? If someone clicks on an advert, that's, I don't know, typically I do when I'm late at night, and you're doom scrolling and you get caught up in some ad. That's the point that they're interested. The next day, they're not. So if they engage with an ad, and then they get a WhatsApp message with somebody going, "Hi, I see you're interested. How can I help?" Then that person's starting to take their email, their phone number, and better details. Then you're going to have a much better result, right? So I think it's combining a mixture of different communication channels, but just sort of layering on AI that supports other things, right?
Yeah.
So just a bit more clarity. So thank you for that. It was great. Just not really understanding the concept of AI. But what I'm hearing is it's a time thing, right? We're getting back our time. Is this efficiency? Is that correct?
I mean, everyone talks about AI, actually a lot of what we do is automation. Right, if this happens, do this. Right, if somebody gives you their permission to email them, then let's just start a year's worth of email. Right, we talked about social media. Right, so we have a social calendar. Right, and these tools are available individually, but we've got sort of 20-30 tools that are all combined on our platform, and they all talk to each other. So the social calendar, is a great way to do free advertising. Right, if somebody's in your network, then if you're not posting into that network every 2 days, then you're missing a trick, right? But you don't want to be doing that every 2 days. You want to set up a spreadsheet with videos and imagery, and then have that calendar do it for you every 2 days in all your social channels. You want to be posting, right?
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks.
All right. So just before we go to you, Prof. So Guzman. So if we could get the QR code up on the screen, which, as Oliver mentioned before, it is, and just explain what this QR code is. Yeah. So this is our AI website reviewer. Okay, so it will, if you scan this QR code, enter your details, then you'll have a AI generated report on your website and your digital presence, right? So it will tell you, how well are you ranking, how, your backlinks, how heavy is your website. There's a whole list of stuff that hopefully you should find useful. And if you want to fix any of those things, then give us a shout. But I've also been quite clever, because I've now got your email and your phone number, so we'll be reaching out to you. All right. So if you're watching Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, obviously tonight's show is about AI and automation. Oliver, co-founder of Sonigo.co, and as you mentioned before, this QR code, feel free to use it, try it, test it out, see how you go. Now,
like I said, you'll need a Google business profile. So if you're on Google Maps, then it should work fine.
Great. If not, take a photo until you can get it to work.
Yeah, if you're not, you should be.
Yeah, that's good. So look, so for you, Oliver, just before we go to Prof, is while he's speaking, is there anything else that you think would be maybe some challenges that your clients coming up with, maybe some case studies that will give people a deeper understanding if it's needed, maybe not from real estate, but from a different market or different industry? That would be really, really helpful. And if anyone else has any more questions, we'll come over to you afterwards. So, Professor, the reason why I'm putting you here is because this show is around a specific segment of AI and its use for business. But hearing what some people were saying earlier on, I know that there's different questions that maybe won't get answered tonight necessarily, but just to kind of leverage on you being here, which I think is fantastic, and I think it would just be great for people to hear, who you are, what you're doing, and what's coming up at the moment in your field. I think it's just an interesting segue to give this great man a break as well, and for us just to hear your voice. One thing I would say though is with the microphone, put it a little bit closer to your mouth. Yeah, thank you.
Sure. My name is Kaz Ravani. There are literally two major challenges and opportunities we are facing in academia when it comes to AI and also all the emerging technologies. We're looking at AI, cybersecurity, Internet of Things, and big data and all that. One is the transition in society, in the workforce, from where many people are going to lose their jobs into how can we have a transition so non-technical managerial people can learn enough about AI in their own fields so they can continue in their career. Basically, like for example, right now I have a course called No-Code AI Toolkit, where we're trying to say, okay, you don't need any more programming. And by the way, you don't need any programming skills very soon. We're from vibe coding to actually more fancy version of it. We'll get rid of all the coding, at least from humans. But that's a challenge. Okay, what do we do with the vast number of humans and workers when basically there is no more job for them, but there will be a lot of new jobs being created. Some of them we know what they are, some of them we have no idea what kind of jobs will be created. That's one. The second thing is another course I'm doing, that's responsible AI. How is this AI, the way it's moving so fast, is affecting humanity in terms of privacy, transparency? Can we control AI? We can have all these regulations in US, but will China or Russia follow vice versa? So that's the second thing. One thing I just want to mention, the data scraping, be very careful. Be very careful. It's not, you already mentioned, it's a gray area, but it can truly get you in trouble eventually, at least in US, pretty much. You have to be very careful what data you're grabbing and how you use it. Major companies such as OpenAI and others started that way. They grabbed so much data from the web. But those days there was no rules and laws against it. Now it's a perfect recipe for lawsuits, basically. One more thing about the data. Heart and soul of AI, machine learning, all that, is the data, basically, where the data, the algorithms use the data and all that. We have internal data you're grabbing in your company, emails, phones. We have external data we can grab from universities, government agencies, blah, blah, and even lease the data, rent the data. And then there is the data that AI is generating on itself. It grabs data, does stuff, generates its own fresh data. So these are all the stuff we are working on. But at the end of the day, really, I'm very worried about the area of responsible AI, and also how to continue jobs for many people who are in non-technical fields.
Thank you very much indeed. And if you thank you very much, Prof. If you pass the microphone just over here. Now, you wanted to answer one of those things.
I was just going to get back to that, and I think it's a really good point. And you were talking about Apollo. So you can buy data. You can just go and buy the data, right? But what do you do when you've got it, right? Because you can't use it unless you've been given permission to use it, right? So what we do with LinkedIn is we're using LinkedIn as the tool, We don't. There is no GDPR if you connect to somebody on LinkedIn, because they're accepting your connection request, right? So you're very right. You know, especially if you're a big corporate, you can end up in a lot of trouble, right?
Just one thing before we go to your question. So last week, I'm not sure if many of you were here, but we had Roger James Hamilton, who is the founder of Genius Group. So many of you, just a quick show of hands, who knows Stephen Bartlett? Just raise your hand. Right? Great. Who doesn't know Stephen Bartlett? Raise your hand. If you don't know Stephen Bartlett, thank you. Appreciate it. So Stephen Bartlett, apart from other things, is the Diary of a CEO podcast. So he's the second largest by views podcaster in the world, right? In this segment. So he's here at the moment, or I think he's away at the moment, but he's coming back. So this Thursday and Friday, which is October 2nd and October 3rd, Genius Group is called the Genius Future Summit. And it's going to take place, as I mentioned, 2nd and 3rd. Stephen Bartlett will be one of the speakers. There's another guy. There's a few. We can put the details back online afterwards. So if anyone would like to go, because we're a client, we have special privileges, which is great for being a partner. So we have a few of the final discounted tickets available. There's standard, which is a standard ticket, $47. There's also a gold ticket, which is $147, and that basically entitles you to food. It happens at Nuanu, by the way. Then there's a VIP ticket, which is $11.40, and that one, it's front row seating, it's special events private to the VIPs. It's also time with the speakers, including Stephen Bartlett and a few of the other speakers which are coming, right? So the discount we get is quite significant. So if you're interested to know, just get in touch with me or come and see me afterwards, and I'll pass you the code. That's on Thursday, the 2nd and 3rd, Thursday, Friday. Now, one thing we spoke about in last week's 3-hour talk show was about the final exam, right? So there's an incredible thinker of our time, a guy called Buckminster Fuller. Does anyone know Buckminster Fuller? A few? None? That's good. So Buckminster Fuller, or Bucky Fuller, and one of the important, I guess, contributions he made was this contribution of a final exam. So human beings, he didn't name AI, but we kind of assume that that's what he was talking about. A final exam, basically where the consciousness of human beings is at the same level as that of technology. The final exam is if we can make it to that point. If we don't, then technology overcomes us. And there's a certain future that holds, right? So Genius Group is about educative programs that bring the consciousness of human beings up to a level where we can have a strong impact into that final exam, right? So the Genius Group been around for 20 years. It's the only education company in Bali, which is on the New York Stock Exchange. So it's a publicly listed company, right? So Genius Group, check it out. It was on last week, or check last week's show. Very interesting 3 hours, and that one is about AI, Bitcoin community, and a bunch of other things as well going forward. So a little bit of a segue, but it's okay, we'll bring it back. Your question, my dear. Thank you.
First, thank you for all the insights that you're giving us. I'm working together with Lisette, and as she already mentioned, we are improving our HR process. And actually, a big part of my day-to-day routine is a WhatsApp campaign that's really time-consuming. So I would love to know more about the WhatsApp automation that you mentioned. What program do you use, and how the whole process works, from even simple step of us saving all the numbers, as we already used an automation actually, but there was a very limited amount of messages that you could send before everything goes to spam. So I would love to know more about the one that you mentioned earlier. Thank you.
Okay, so I don't know if we sell our platform. Okay, on our platform integrates with WhatsApp. Okay, and a lot of our clients, all their WhatsApp is on their phone. Okay, so once you've got WhatsApp on your CRM on your platform, and the whole company can look at it, you can then automate various different things. So I wouldn't know what you're looking to do until I'd spoken with you, but we would have a chat with you, understand the scenario, the kind of questions, but part of the platforms we talked about earlier is that you can train AI, okay, to respond on behalf, and you can actually just speed up the process by the suggestive mode or go into autopilot, right? And that there's two ways of working with WhatsApp. There's the official way, which is through Meta. We have the ability to connect with Meta, or there's a kind of unofficial way, which we can advise you on. Yeah.
Great. So, question up at the front. Yeah. So, just before we get to the question, so I think after this question or two, we'll begin to wrap up the show, and just how we do that, Oliver will be, and probably time to think about it now. Is there anything left that maybe, you thought, hey, this is a good idea that I think I should mention to people? Or it might be reiterating what you said before, just the key points, because it's nice to summarize something so then people are left with that final summary and they know what to do. And then obviously give yourself a plug, right? Sonigo.co, so people know if they want to reach out to you, how they can do that as well. Now, I will repeat this afterwards, okay, because we've got a few more questions to go. But in between, it gives you time to have a think about it.
If you were starting another AI agency tomorrow, what would the solution be, and what would your target market be, and why?
It's a good question, and I suppose that comes to your question. So where our agency is going, which would probably be where we would start fresh with, is a product we call AI Concierge. Okay, and it kind of combines all our knowledge and our ability to communicate through WhatsApp. And although we love talking to the SMEs and enterprise businesses, we actually to actually focus in one industry, I think does have its advantages. So I'll tell you about AI Concierge. So we're working with a hotel here in Bali, and we've built a product that will communicate with the guests during their stay. Right, and if you think of a hotel, they're in a fantastic situation. Right, majority of their guests are on holiday. They have money to spend, right? And as they check in, you can get their phone number, right? So with a AI automated sequence of messages, you might be able to help them through their stay. You might be able to offer them childcare, right? You might want to get them an airport transfer, right? You might want to promote your spa, and all these things can drip into a guest's WhatsApp. So we've built out this system that will communicate with a guest, be it staying at a hotel, maybe a holiday, an Airbnb, and it also brilliantly promotes local businesses. Do you want a surfing lesson? All right. So we have an affiliate marketing back end to this, right? So we can actually take the payment, and then the affiliate would get their bit. So it kind of gives back to the community. It helps the guest, because the guest, maybe gets a 10% discount, right? So I suppose in answer to your question, that's probably where we would go again. But that's kind of where we're going now. That's kind of our thing. So if anyone's in hospitality, we'd love to talk to you about that, because we're getting some great results.
That's beautiful. And beholden on me, Miss Co-founder, is there anything left that you'd like to maybe bring up that we haven't discussed, or something you think might be relevant now for people here?
Yeah, actually, it's a really good point. I think essentially, I want to summarize in a nutshell. I think it's both of us have worked for big corporations, big businesses, and I think making that move to Bali, we've been in the US, in Europe. Coming to Bali, what we did was really immerse ourselves in speaking to people in different businesses. We just found there is such an entrepreneur hive here. There is so many people starting small businesses, and it's just, you know, I can't even remember the latest percentage of them failing is huge. And I think we just had both heart in it, and it's why we started it. And I think that's a really good point. It's like, why did we, Oliver's background, mine was fashion digital marketing for 18 years, and we came together with that because we could see how we could help businesses, and we were immersed around and so many people around us, and essentially everyone is having the same problem. You're doing about 25 different jobs, and all of them probably full time and not very well. And I think essentially what we wanted to do is offer a streamlining your business, but where you have control over. Because obviously outsourcing, as we know, and having staff, as we know, that's still time consuming. Not everyone has management ability. You know, you probably have amazing at what you do at certain parts, have no idea what you do in the other parts, but you're learning it along the way. So what we're offering is something that completely streamlines something where you have control. And the element of how much control you want in that is completely up to you. And we work with... I think the good thing about us, there's a few people out there doing a similar version of what we're doing, but what we do is we really, really get under the skin with every single owner. And I come from a background of brand identity, branding, tone of voice. Oliver comes back from, you know, the full tech and design and process understanding as well. So between us, we totally immerse ourselves with your company and understand that. And then what we do is totally troubleshoot everything in a 360 point of view, using AI integration in a CRM platform, which completely streamlines your business. So I think there's heart in what we do, and we really do care about people surviving and thriving in their business, and this really does help you. So I think that's my only takeaway from this, to summarize.
Yeah.
Like that.
I was just going to, just as an add-on to that, you know, just to us here, you know, living and working in Bali, one of the most amazing resources that we have is the labour force here. Right, you know, we have, you know, with an exchange rate, you know, a fantastic ability to bring on our local workforce here in Bali, and we've got Veer, who is literally the engine of
stand
what
up.
we do.
Come on, stand up. I know you don't want to, but please stand up, my darling. Come on. Yeah, round of applause. She's amazing.
So Veer,
and a mum as well.
Veer literally is our saving grace. Veer and her team are the smartest people that I've worked with in a long time, and what's great with working with other businesses, with local teams, is our team can work directly with their team, and also some teams that some businesses that we've worked with, they have fantastic teams, but they don't sometimes follow the process. So what we can do is have our team help them build a process, and then they can't deviate from that process. If it's a button they've got to press, if it's something that has to happen to move to the next thing, then you're literally, you know, your whole automated business it doesn't have any room for error, right? So that's something we can help you with too.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, look, as we draw this to a close, and again, if there's anything else you want to mention, you're welcome in about a minute or so. Just want to thank everybody here for coming, and remember, so at the start of this, off camera, we did that little game, right, where everyone kind of says, you know, why did I come? What can I contribute, right? So there were someone in the room, maybe more than one, that you have this, you know, I really got to speak to that person. So Tropical Nomad is open 24 hours a day. I think the cafe and the restaurant's still open as well, so you can order food and so on. But please take this time to have a chat to them. The reason why I said don't mention your name is because, as I said before, let's be honest, right? You would have forgotten by now anyway, right? They're like, yeah, I forgot. And then it's embarrassing that you forgot, right? And you got that like, so you're probably going to not speak to them because you don't want to face the embarrassment of forgetting their name. So you didn't know it because they didn't say it. So you can just say, hey, love what you had to say. Please tell me more about that. Or I didn't get your name before because you didn't say it. And what's your name? My name is... All right, because some people don't know how to meet people, and it's a thing that happens now more than ever, actually, because people are more behind their screens than they are with each other, right? So I say this partly joking, but I'm actually not joking as well. So this is a really good opportunity to meet those people here that just tweaked your ear. Right? So remember, we're here because of Sonigo, and over here they've got a great tool. So remember, just if you haven't done already, to download that. If you want to join the SpeakuP community, there's another QR code over there somewhere. QR codes everywhere. And I just want to thank Brother Guzman. Round of applause for our Brother Guzman. Goodness. All right. Round of applause for yourselves for coming. Thank you so very, very much. Woo! And Brother Oliver, is there anything else you'd like to close with, or has it all been said?
If anybody's interested in anything that we've talked about, we've got my beautiful wife and the amazing Veer. So if you want to speak to me or the two girls here, we'd love to find out specifically about your problems. We love problems. So come and tell us all your problems. We'll do a bit of counselling, and hopefully we might have some solutions for you. All right.
Round of applause for Sonigo, Oliver. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Woo. All right. So